Do you got a podcast? Do you sell high ticket? Well, in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can leverage podcasting and high ticket to close more deals. It's a strategy that I like to call the pod close. And by leveraging the pod close, you can use your podcast to nurture and warm up clients fast in real time and then close them on your high ticket product or service. So do me a favor, subscribe to this channel and check out this video. Literally, I did this strategy for my mentees and I want to give you the game completely for free on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. Let's get into it. In this video, I'm going to break down two unique strategies. The first strategy we're going to break down is what I like to call the pod close. The pod close is the best way for you to sell high ticket products by leveraging the podcast. And then we're going to be breaking down what I like to call the VIP package. The VIP package is hands down the number one way for you to monetize a podcast. If it's a brand new show, or monetize a podcast, if it's a guest-based show, or monetize your podcast by the next episode. If for some reason you already have some episodes out there and you haven't figured out how to monetize, I'm going to whiteboard it right now. I'm going to break it all down for you so you guys can take this information and run with it ASAP. All right, so look. So this is what we call a pod close, right? This is what we're gonna call a pod close right here. Well, make sure you guys can see it. This is a pod close. So a pod close is basically when you bridge the gap, right, between you as a host and the guest. You provide value by leveraging the platform, which is the podcast, and then you have a high ticket offer or a core product offer or something that might be 5K and up on the back end. So we leverage the pod close. Why? Because if you just literally call somebody up or reach out to somebody who's like, hey, would you like to get on a sales call so I can break down exactly how I can help you? 9 times out of 10, damn near 90% of the time, people are gonna say no. They're going to not want to get on a sales call. No one likes to get on sales calls. Why? Because they can be sold to. People love to buy, but they don't like to be sold to. So what we do is we frame the podcast as a pod close internally. So this is what we got, right? So basically you have yourself, right? Which is the host right here. You're the host. Then you have the guest. This is a guest right here, right? You have your podcast right here. So both of you guys are meeting in the middle to have conversations on the podcast, right? You're meeting in the middle to have conversations on the podcast. So generally on this podcast, even if it's a stranger, right? Even if it's a stranger, the know, like, trust grows so fast in 20, 30, 40, even 60 minutes of time. And some podcasts go over 60 minutes. You get to really like this person. You get to know who this person is. Their energy is there. The vibrations is there. It's damn near your best friend, right? You guys are sending referrals. You're like, oh, you might like this. Oh, I got something else for you. You're really building the camaraderie, right? So you're really growing that trust to a next level. Since you're growing that trust to the next level on a podcast, you are growing tremendous amounts of trust. Since you are growing that trust on the next level, from there, evaluating how the conversation is going, and you could definitely start planting particular questions that are going to pre-frame exactly what you think the guest might be. If the guest might be a good fit for your product or service after, you're gonna get a better understanding if you can actually provide a solution. So you're gonna use this podcast as leverage. You're gonna use the podcast as leverage, okay? You have the podcast as leverage. You're building tremendous amounts of trust, right? And then from there, what you're gonna do when a podcast is over, you're gonna say something like, hey, Braden, hey, Jamal, hey, James, hey, Devin, listen, it's been an amazing podcast today. And actually, I heard that you needed some help with X, Y, and Z. Yeah, during our interview, you was talking about how, you needed some help with this. Or during our conversation, I noticed that this might have been an issue for you. This is an obstacle. I would love to let you know how actually my team and I can help you with that obstacle or that issue that you're having. We can either talk about it further right now, or I would love to schedule another time with you, maybe tomorrow or this week, where I can actually show you how we can solve that problem, or I can show you how my team and I can actually help you. So then, with the leverage you have and the trust that you build up, the podcast becomes an appointment. The podcast becomes an appointment, right? So you went from not knowing who this person was, and maybe you knew a little bit about this person. Your know, like, trust grew so high. You got leverage now. Now, anything that you literally suggest, the guest is going to most likely be like, I would love to hear more than that. Why? Because they trust you now. So then you turn that podcast meeting into an appointment. And on this appointment, that's when you go a little bit deeper, because the appointment is really a sales call. It's really like a fact finding, which was the podcast. You take that fact finding onto the sales call, which is that appointment that you set up after the podcast. And now you're going to actually go through your presentation and see if you can help the guest further. Now, during this appointment, it's like I said, it's basically a sales call. So you should have a script. You know, if you sell high ticket, you would already know how to run through a high ticket presentation. But then you just give this person an offer at the end. You just give them an offer. You give them an offer, and then you close the deal. Now, if you're the individual that's going to be giving the presentation, then you might close the deal right then and there. But maybe you actually have a sales team, and that conversation ends up being like a bigger set. And then you just kind of leverage that conversation. You pass it off to another teammate to close the deal if you actually have a sales team. Utilizing this strategy, if you have a high ticket offer, is tremendous for you to close more deals from a warm audience that you're building in real time by leveraging the podcast. So we call this the pod close method, and it's literally you utilizing your podcast as leverage so you can get more warm clients to see if they're a good fit for your offer, and then you close them on your 5K, 7K, 10K, 15K, 20K, whatever your offer is. This method will 100% work for you to close more deals. And maybe if you don't have a high ticket, you could partner with someone that has a high ticket and you leverage your podcast to close these deals. So right down below, I actually broke down the strategy so you guys can actually see it in a PDF. You could take this information and go run the play, all right? I'll see you guys on the next video. We're gonna break down what I like to call the VIP package. Let's get it. Okay, look, so this is how we're gonna get you more exposure using the pod equals MC square strategy, right? Then we're gonna bring out the air fryer and then connect it to the toaster oven method, right?
I think I wasted my money.
And after we do all this, we're gonna get you 1 million views and millions of subscribers.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I got you. Let me go get something.
What's this box about? Wow! Bro, what is that?
So we got your long form podcast right here, right? This is long form audio.
Okay, now I'm getting my money's worth.
We got a service to get more exposure, get more views, and get more call to action to get more sales.
Let's go.
This is what you need to do to get more of this. Now do you understand?
I completely get the vibe now. Before, I don't know what you was talking about, but this right here, we're gonna make a lot of money.